What is going on? Welcome to Jumpstarting the High Performance Mastermind Trainings, a space where legendary teams are born and visionary leaders are empowered. I'm Dylan Hoffman.
Hi, I'm Heather Hoffman, and we are the founders of Shamanic Ananda, or Ananda, as Deepak Chopra always says, and I love how he pronounces it.
Ananda.
Ananda. Here's some more context behind our company name, as it very much influences why we're here. Shamanic refers to natural ways of being. Ananda in Sanskrit means bliss. Our role and mission is to create safe and nurturing spaces so your natural bliss and radiance begins to shine. Shamanic Ananda's vision for the world is to create extraordinary healing opportunities for ourselves and the people who are devoted to transformation and wholeness.
We would love to know how'd you hear about this webinar? Let us know in the chat if you're watching the replay or if you're checking out through a YouTube link. Let us know in the chats and how you heard about the webinar, what brought you here, what you're looking to create for yourself. By the end of today's webinar, you'll have a clear understanding of what the high performance mastermind trainings are all about. We'll be covering the topic of awareness from many different angles. We'll make sure you stay until the end because at the end, we're going to give you the high performance mastermind success formula, something that we use every single day. And we're also going to give you a gift at the end that you definitely don't want to miss out. So why wouldn't you want to stay? So the high performance mastermind trainings, they're not like any other courses. It's not like any other programs or trainings that you've probably been a part of, or if this is your first training, congratulations for making it. These trainings have been shaped into what it is today by many inspirational and transformational pioneers like Ray Blanchard, Betty Spruill, Werner Eckhart, Joe Eggleston, Ariel and Richard Schwartz, Atier Tan, Pat Ogden, Manuela Reeds, Ruby Gibson, Kyra Maestra, and Deb Daner, among many other extraordinary human beings that we've had the luxury of working with, learning with, and healing and growing with. Uh, so there's a lot of giants who have come before us who helped birth this incredible journey that people go on that is the training. High Performance Mastermind is an opportunity to uncover and redesign the underlying assumptions out of which you live your life, such that you experience a profound shift in your ability to relate to yourself and others, empowering you to fully engage your heartfelt commitments with freedom, fulfillment, and purpose.
The mastermind opens you up to remembering who you are, noticing how you show up in life, illuminating your blind spots so you can understand yourself more deeply, and supporting you to get clear on the path that was meant for you. We provide awareness tools, mindset shifting through distinctions in coaching, and action plans that keep you out of analysis paralysis so you can move forward with embodiment and mastery.
A little bit of background about me and how I've gotten to where we're at today with even facilitating this webinar. I've been doing deep shamanic and yogic healing work since 2010. So for the last 14 years or so. And between 2010 and 2020, I studied psychology, interdisciplinary studies, trauma-informed education, and other various modalities that speak into the language of the body, like yoga and integrative somatics. And it wasn't until 2020 that I stepped into the transformational and leadership development work. And this is where I really saw how to yoke everything into one, as yoga would say. And the transformational work, it completely blew my mind. And I really got to see uh, the very empowered stance of leadership from all domains of my life. And the transformational work completely shifted the way that I saw myself, how I saw others, how I saw life in general. So I can't emphasize enough how this new worldview opened up a world of possibilities, freedom, power, appreciation, and prosperity. My relationship with my wife, who's here, we went from a 4 to a 10 in intimacy and connection, communication, honesty, and the tools that we not only teach, but that we use every day are what help maintain that 10 consistently. So high performance mastermind trainings focus on how to create successful leaders in their personal and professional lives. So whether you are in a relationship, whether you're married, whether you're single, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a healer, if you're a coach, it's really this training is really for anyone who wants to lead their life as a leader. That's really who like fits best for this training. So this training is really a training in awareness, and they open up the opportunities to create not only diplomatic and harmonious perspectives in your world, but in the worlds that you touch and everyone in your life. So our ultimate vision is to create a safe, nurturing, wise, and supportive space for you to know that you are loved, that you matter, and you are capable of living a life that you've only ever dreamed was possible.
We know, and we've seen it over and over again in our personal lives and with our clients and students we support. Generating fulfillment and purpose, however that looks for you, is possible to have in this lifetime. When I am fulfilled and living with purpose, then I am peaceful and joyful. It's possible to foster peace in our minds, peace in our families, peace in our communities, and as a result, peace in the world. If peace doesn't do it for you, insert whatever drives your purpose. Perhaps it's freedom, fulfillment, or even love. We see what's going on in the world and how it's not easy to see 10 relationships or people living a 10 life. In fact, we see a lot of survival. Too many people are not living their vision for the world. So in 2021, we decided it was time to create our business, Shamanic Ananda, and offer the support people genuinely need. We see so many industries overwhelmed: doctors, nurses, mechanics, real estate professionals, just about everywhere you go. Perhaps from COVID, perhaps from other traumas, but it is the normalcy that we are drowning in 2024. We feel it's our responsibility to share our joy, gratitude, knowledge, and experience with the world, to ripple out how to build foundations rooted in compassion and resiliency to withstand the tests of time.
One of my shamanic mentors once told me, you need to dream bigger, which shocked me, as I already feel like I'm a pretty big dreamer. Yet, in that, what I heard from him was that I need to stop being a big fish in a small pond. And now, as we have decided to grow in this digital landscape, I find myself as a really tiny fish in a vast ocean, and I'm ready to create ripples. I'm ready to make a bigger impact, and I'm ready to get started. So we want to first thank you and acknowledge you for being here, for checking out the recording, and for showing up, taking next steps in your life, which we know isn't always easy, yet can be the most rewarding thing that you ever do. And we want to ensure you that you get the most value from this recording, as our time together is very, very precious. We want to invite you to be an active listener, to not to ensure that you get the most value, but also to be 100% focused with your attention in this next hour. So, for example, try to avoid checking your phone, doing other work on other devices. Just be as most present you've ever been, and listen from a space where you can let go of all judgments, all your assessments, all your filtered stories from the day, all of it, and just be open to what we talk about today. So if like you were to listen, if possible, we encourage you to listen from the space where you can create anything and where everything is possible. Like imagine for a moment that you created this webinar, you created the content of the webinar, you created being on the webinar or checking out the recording of the webinar. You created us, Heather and I, to be facilitating this together. You created everything, right? So if this webinar sucks, you created that. If you absolutely love this webinar, you created that. One of my favorite quotes from Course in Miracles is what you see reflects your thinking, and your thinking but reflects your choice of what you want to see. So, in other words, they say projection makes perception, right? Only all the time. So, here's the deal, we're constantly creating what we see. Everything we see outside of us is really just a projection of what we're really generating inside of us. So it's an inward condition being reflected outwardly, which scientists are now calling a hologram. They say life is a hologram.
So we invite you to create value for yourself because who is it up to create value? It's not up to us to create value for you. Now we're going to do our best, but really it's up to you to create value for yourself in any situation that you go into. Throughout this webinar, if you have questions, please type them into the chat. We have a lot to cover and want to be respectful of your time, so using the chat effectively is important. We will answer your questions as soon as we can, and if you stay to the end, you're going to get a link to our free workshop, Compassion for Worthy Wounds, and you'll have an opportunity to sign up for the 12-week self-study high performance mastermind training at an amazing deal. So our invitation to you is to participate 100% today. I would even say show up today like your life depended on it to create the maximum value for yourself, knowing that it may not feel so dire in the physical sense so much, but perhaps it does in other aspects of your life.
The National Training Laboratory actually did a study on what we retain from different kinds of learning methods. So, for example, like passive or active, right? And that's where we made the request to be an active listener. Because if you were merely to listen as if this is a lecture, you'll retain about 5% of the information, which I would say is a waste of your time. And I'm telling you right now, the information and the tools available today can be life-changing. They were for us, which is why we love sharing them, right? So again, we invite you to participate in the chat. We invite you to participate in your life. We invite you to participate in the exercises that we're going to be doing in just a little bit. So let's get out of our box, right? You may have heard the term to think outside of the box, right? Or coloring outside of the lines. What is that really implying? I mean, it's essentially referring to the phenomena that we're all living in this self-imposed box, right? That our reality is fixed and that the solutions to our problems don't fit in our worldview. They're actually unavailable. So in many cases, we even say they're impossible. So when I say to think outside of the box, I'm essentially saying to let go of all that you are, all that you know, and all that you believe in order to open up a space of possibility, a space of invention, and a space of creation, right? So you might ask, well, if all that potential is outside of my box, why do I still find myself inside of my box? And how the heck do I get out?
This is where it gets fun because there are actual distinct payoffs and prices to living inside your box. And there are distinct payoffs and prices to living outside of your box. Here's what we mean by payoffs and prices. So the questions really are, what do you want? What's your vision for your life? What's important to you? And once you're clear on those questions, you're one step closer to having unlimited potential available to you in your life. Now, here's why we like hanging out in our box, in our fixed reality, in our fixed beliefs. So the pros are, it's safe, it's comfortable, we get to be right, we get to be right about our stories, our beliefs, and we get to reinforce our stories and beliefs through our family and community boxes that we've created. And we get approval from peers. Living inside a box actually comforts our fears, it comforts our thoughts, and it also satiates our addictions. And then the cons of living inside of our box, it's really kind of a vacuum, like a dead space. We're not really living life. We're simply surviving life, wishing, hoping, wanting, right? With no results and no movement. Same old, same old. And also, when we're living like this out of survival, like being right, needing to be in control, being safe, and seeking approval, our joy, our freedom, our happiness, our authenticity, our power is actually limited.
Now, there are also pros and cons of living life outside our box or coloring outside the lines. And the pros are, this is where the realm of possibility exists, right? This is where invention, imagination, and unlimited potential is. And we can live from a space of, I don't know, I don't know, but I'm open to finding out. And that actually generates opportunity. It generates empowered choices. It generates authenticity, courage, surrender, trust, love, all of it, right? And it gives you a sense of aliveness, like a zest for life, right? So these are some of the pros of living life outside your box. Now, the cons, on the other hand, of living outside the box can feel risky, can feel uncertain, unknown. And if you don't have the tools, this is where the acute awareness, it can actually feel super unsafe and unpredictable, even make us feel defenseless or having us feel like we need to defend, I should say. Right. And those are the tools and the awareness opening in each exercise that we do that you'll discover here, not just today, but also in the 12-week course. So now that we know the pros and cons of living life from inside our box versus outside of our box, it's important for us to talk about context, right? So context is one of the most important distinctions in the work of transformation and one of the most important distinctions in the high performance mastermind. And it's not until you fully grasp and understand how your context affects your results and your life, and you even have a shot at generating or manifesting what you desire as soon as you get this, right? So it's not until you acquire or learn the tools and cultivate the emotional fortitude that you can actually begin to create an empowering context for which it is you want to create your life out of.
So, for instance, let's look at it from a physical perspective. Imagine your dream is to have an in ground swimming pool or a hot tub on your property. You have the space for it, but there are these huge trees and bushes growing in the area. There are big stones, all kinds of stuff in the way or taking up lots of space. And because of that, in the present moment, your backyard is not a context or an environment for a pool or hot tub to exist. Some of you may remember the movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner and the famous quote, "If you build it, they will come." Now, I'm not a pool or hot tub builder per se, but I think I can safely say a pool or hot tub cannot exist on an uneven field with growing trees, right? So your backyard is not yet the context for a pool or hot tub to be possible. So rather than spending money on new swim gear or being in resistance to or resentful of the fact that you don't have a pool or hot tub, begin to cultivate the context. Begin to create the context that could have a pool or hot tub exist. Context refers to the space, the environment, or the container where content can either exist or not. Do you get to replant some trees in another area? Do you get to remove the stones or arrange them somewhere else? Do you need to build a storage shed to organize other things in your yard to create the space for your pool or hot tub? You're up, husband.
So for instance, if you take a fern, right, like a plant, a fern, that's content. A fern cannot exist in the desert. The desert would be the context, like what Heather's talking about. Um, because the desert is simply not an environment or a space for a fern to exist, so therefore the context actually defines the limitations and the rules and the possibilities of what's potential in a given situation. So, for example, us human beings, they say we're like a walking context, right? We're like this walking environment because of our thoughts, our beingness, our beliefs, and actions. All of that attracts what can and cannot exist in our environment. So, this is actually a really common context, is the context of scarcity, right? Whether it's like money can't exist in that context, it might be time can't exist in that context. It could be even be like a lack of love, it not existing in that context, right? So it simply cannot. It is not a space for it. So in our high performance mastermind trainings, we actually inspire you to take responsibility for creating and transforming the context in which you are rather than being like a passive victim to it or a beneficiary of it, right? So when we become masters at context creation, we can start to deliberately create the results that we want. And a true mindset shift will actually have to start operating from outside of our box, which is only possible if you have a mindset shift when you're operating within your box. Something actually has to occur for you to be willing to subscribe to different possibilities, right? Or different narratives, or to alter the way that you have it, and be willing to question your own thinking and your own actions, right? And the only way to experience a transformative shift so that you can create the context needed is to experience it and to actually experience your way out of your box.
So, how do we do that? Well, given that most of us live life like a racehorse with blinders on, you can either wait for life to throw you a major curveball, something that takes dynamite to your box, or a situation will come along where you're forced to awaken or you're forced to change and transform. And there are actually a lot of those curveballs happening today, whether it's an environmental disaster like flooding, an earthquake, a hurricane, or hitting a bottom if you have addictions. And we all experience addictions in varying degrees, so no shame there. Or maybe losing someone or something that you love dearly pushes you to grow. And experiencing these things is still not a guarantee that you're going to have a transformational shift occur, but it can definitely open up a possibility. However, without clarifying certain tools, concepts, and ideas from the perspective of transformation and through a creative context rather than a survival context, having a curveball thrown at you can be a drawn out, painful, and pretty cumbersome process, and sometimes even very lonely. The High Performance Mastermind helps you see the opportunities to add the awareness needed to transform so it doesn't pass you by, continuing to walk along in an unconscious survival state of mind. Equipping you with distinctions, hands-on tools, perspectives, and points of views that will actually move you forward with your vision, that will have you choose wisely in any and every moment. And the way it's presented will actually have you have an experience of that profound shift. And once you see it, once you're outside of your box, you cannot unsee it anymore. You cannot unsee it. And as a result, your life will begin to work for you rather than against you. Your results will not only happen, but they'll be extraordinary. You will have a say. You will have a choice in the creation of your future. You're in charge now, simply because you consciously generate your context. No longer must you be the victim of your knee-jerk reactions. Simply put, your results will show you the context that you're being. So today, you're very powerful in your creations because we're about to give you a tool, a distinction that is possibly the most powerful distinction in the field of transformation.
So I'm going to ask you this question. Are you the victim, controller, or creator? Now, don't answer yet. Let's just explore this for a moment, right? Because there are three ways we can navigate life, whether we're using the patterns and beliefs of the victim, the controller, or the creator. And most of the world tends to operate from the victim or the controller. In fact, it's been ingrained in all of us throughout time that if we just rely on externals and do more, we will eventually find joy and happiness, right? Like being happy has become a conditional response to an external circumstance rather than an emotion or experience that's literally innate within our very core, like our natural birthright of beingness. So let's look at these three. So what is the victim, right? The victim wants the current reality to change, to do and be something. So for instance, if I have that house, then I'll be able to live how I want and then I'll be happy, right? If I have a life partner, then I would travel the world and then I would be fulfilled, right? So the victim lives life as if life and its circumstances are changing or life and its circumstances are in charge of the outcome, right? And this is what we call a have, do, be model, right? If or when I have, then I'll be able to do, and then I will be. So, for instance, when I have money, then I can dress better, and then I'll be sexy. Or, uh, the have, do, be, right? So a victim cannot be successful or happy until something outside of them changes first. It's like they're living life depending on others, depending on situations, right? And they're depending on circumstances to change. And in doing so, they have no power and they have no power to create. And in this no power to create, they stand still and they're never able to generate what they desire.
Now, the controller also wants to change the current reality, but instead of having first, they're doing it by doing more. So they do more to have and be. So the controller actually operates from a do, have, be model. And the more they do, the more they'll have, and then they'll be happy and successful. Now, while the controller may get shit done and create a bunch of haves, it never produces an authentic beingness. They wonder why they still feel empty, depressed, tired, drained, despite having what it is they want. And so they just do more and then they never reach happiness.
Now, the third one that most people don't live by, which is really the one that works authentically, is the creator. So our trainer calls this the win-winner, right? The creator actually redesigns who they are first to inspire action and to create results. So how does the creator operate? Well, the creator actually adheres to a be, do, have model. So for them, it's not about what I need to do or have to succeed. It's really focused on who do I need to be in order to have or in order to do and have what I want. And they kind of explore what kind of person and what qualities would need to be present for someone to have what they want. And they focus on the becoming or the being aspect of the equation first. So it's always be, do, have for these creators, right? If I can be that person, what would I be doing? And then the having is inevitable. It would take care of pretty much showing up on its own. So if I can be an author, for example, then I would do the writing daily and would have a published book, right? So you see, once you realize that nothing external, no amount of doing this will make you happy, you become an opening to shift your victim or your controller pattern and then enter the world of the creator. So the victim and controller, what they're doing is they're actually in resistance of current reality, right? And what you resist persists. But the creator, on the other hand, embraces current reality through reinvention and redesign. So the current reality is actually the creator's playground. This is where the fun happens. This is where uh, the reason, like our trainer calls the creator the win-winner, is because if I call it just the winner, it can sometimes imply that there's a loser. But the win-winner is someone that wins and makes sure that everyone around them wins too. It's someone that comes from abundance, that there is enough for everyone. So what works is be, do, have. And most people operate from have, do, be, or do, have, be. But it's be first, then the doingness will be effortless, and the having will take care of itself.
B. And now you might ask yourself, so where do I start? How do I shift the way that I operate? Well, one proven way to interrupt your patterns is to sign up for the 12-week High Performance Mastermind training. Hello, of course, that's why I'm talking about it. Because the High Performance Mastermind is a training in beingness. It's a training that will take dynamite to your box and it will support you in shifting what is not producing what it is you say that you want. So rather than how do I do that? How do I do that? We hear the same thing all the time from people that come to us asking how. Let's begin to think of it as who. Like we would love someone to call us for coaching and say, "Hey, who do I need to be to create XYZ?" Because it's our beingness that generates the context that we are, the context where our results, our goals, and our visions can actually thrive. So, in the High Performance Mastermind training, 50% of what we do is experiential, and that is to generate effective learning. That is to generate long lasting results that stand the test of time.
So let's do it, right? Let's do an experiential exercise that's designed to illuminate your blind spots. And let's have some fun, right? So in a minute, I'm going to, well, Heather's going to be showing you a slide with something that you've either seen before, heard before, or maybe even said before, right? So it's going to be on a slide, and all I want you to do is read it, right? So let's read it. I'm gonna leave it up for enough time for you to read it, and then I'll remove it. Well, Heather will remove it, and then I'm gonna ask you a question. So again, it's gonna be something that you've either heard, seen, or even said before. And you're gonna read it to yourself, and after a moment, I'll remove the slide, or Heather will move the slide, and then we'll ask you a question. So here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a question. Did you read Bird in the Hand, Paris in the Spring, and Once in a Lifetime? Let us know in the chat. Let us know if you're checking out the recording, yes or no. right? So if you answered yes, I read bird in the hand, Paris in the spring, and once in a lifetime. I want you to hear what I'm about to say right now. It does not say that, right? It just does not say that. I promise you, it doesn't say bird in the hand, Paris in the spring, and once in a lifetime. It just doesn't. So, what I want you to do now, and this is what we do in the training too, is I want you to notice your reaction, right? Because we have unique reactions and responses to different things, right? So I want you to start noticing in this moment your reactions and your responses. So when I say it doesn't say that, are you like, well, you're wrong and I'm right? Or I don't know what's going on? Or I don't get this? Or whatever it is, just notice what your reactions are. And I promise you, it does not say that. But I'll give you another chance to read it again, okay? So
Heather's
Heather's
going
going
to
to
put
put
up
up
the
the
slide
slide
again.
again, and I want you to read it, and then we're going to remove it again. It's going to be the same slide, same deal. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this time, if you read Bird in the Hand, Paris in the Spring, and Once in a Lifetime, go ahead and answer in the chat. Yes, no, maybe, right? Let us know. And again, I'm going to share with you, it does not say that, right? Like, it just doesn't say that. So just notice your reaction, right? Most people that know me, they think I'm pretty honest of a person, right? They think I have some really strong integrity. And I'm just gonna let you know again, it does not say that, right? And it's the same slide both times, uh, right? And I just want you to notice your reactions. Notice if you feel uncomfortable, right? Or maybe if you're getting frustrated, even, right? Some people might even be getting angry or annoyed with me or whatever it is, right?
Right?
Just
Just
whatever
whatever
it
it
is
is.
for you, just notice what's going on in your thoughts, notice what's going on in your body, right? Just notice yourself. And for those of you that still read both slides, right? If you still read Bird in the Hand, Paris in the Spring, and Once in a Lifetime, I'm going to show it to you again, but I'm going to read it to you word by word, and we're going to have highlighted for you
Some of
some
the
of the
words
words
that
that
we
we
read.
read.
So
So we'll read it, we'll show the prompts. Here we go. Right? So there's bird in the hand, Paris in the spring, once in a lifetime, right? So unless you already saw the thes and the us right away when we started this exercise, it wasn't really until I highlighted the words like we're doing now until you saw it. So let's talk about the thes and the us, right? Because I told you that you're going to read something that maybe you heard before, seen before, or said before. And as soon as that happened, as soon as I said that, right, your brain started going back into your files. And you immediately, your brain goes there and it starts looking for what's familiar, right? And then when I put the slide up, all you could see was what you thought you already knew, right? You were not even able to see what was actually there. It went right back into your brain, briefly saw the statement, and all you could do was see what was familiar, right? Because familiar is that is your brain, right? That's just what it does. And then you totally miss the thus and the us, right? Now, and I want to ask you, where do you think you do that? Where are you doing that in relationships with
people,
people?
right?
Right?
Where
Where
are
are
the
the thes and the us? Like, when you go up to someone, especially in those familiar relationships, like with our partners or right? People that we work with for a long time, right? We know them, right? We think we know them. Where are we automatically going, right? And what are the thes and the uhs that we're missing? What's the thes and the uhs that has us stop short from taking our relationships from maybe an 8 to a 10, right? Or maybe a 2 to a 10, right? I don't know where your relationships are right now, right? But what's the thes or the uhs that's in the way of you having the dream of your life, right? What's the thes and the uhs that's in the way for a breakthrough for the cure for cancer, right? What are the thes and the uhs that people are missing that has them go to war, right? And I just want you to be in the question. Where is the thes and the uhs in your life that you may not be able to see, right? What are you missing? And I'd love to hear from you. Share your experience in chat. Share if you're watching the recording, if you're watching it on YouTube, check it out. Share with us your experience. What was your experience like? Right? See if you can identify maybe areas in your life where you may be missing what really is going on and you're simply on automatic, right? An auto reaction from your past or just from familiar patterns, right? So please share, and I'd love to hear from you, right? We would love to hear like what's coming up for you. And also too, I want to share, right? So you just had an experience of how the training's set up, right? So first, Heather and I, we did a lecturette on like our box, on context. We shared things about distinctions and the value of experiential learning, right? And then we took you through an experiential exercise. Right now, we just did the bird in the hand, right, the bird in the hand, and now I asked you to share your experience in the chat, which you guys did great. Like you guys did great at it. This is a lot of fun of how we can just play with awareness and consciousness. That pretty much what we're gonna be doing for 12 weeks.
So now we're ready to give you the High Performance Mastermind success formula. And we're really kind of getting into another gem of today's training because the High Performance Mastermind success formula, once mastered, can be a game changer for you. And in order for the success formula to be most effective, it is essential that you have and that you're really clear on a juicy, great vision. Vision is like air to life. It's like soil to fertilization. Once you get clear on your vision, it's already available to you. Most people have a vision or goals as if they're outside of themselves, something really far away. But I'm telling you, once you're clear on it, it is already available. But who you are and your actions are not allowing you to access it yet. Now, it's your job to match yourself and your actions up to that vision for you to have it. So, how do we do that? Well, it starts with context. We've already covered what context is, and we go way deeper into this distinction in the 12-week training. But here it is again quickly. Context is a space, environment, or container in which certain things will thrive and certain things will not. Human beings are simply a context that attracts certain things that can exist and thrive in the space that we are. So you are already a context. Now you get to ask yourself, what am I a context for? And I'm sorry to break it to you, but you're a context for exactly what you have right now. You're a context for all the results that you have right now, the good and the bad. So the question you get to ask yourself is not, what do I need to have or what do I need to do? It's more like, who do I need to be? Who do I need to be? What kind of person and what kind of qualities would need to be present to have what I want in my life? So if you want peace in your life, and then every day you go in and yell at the Starbucks barista because the coffee's not hot enough, I'm sorry, but peace does not exist in that context. So think about what kind of person and what ways of being and what qualities need to be present to have whatever it is you want. And feel free to type that in the chat or in any kind of messaging to us. If you can think of some ways of being or qualities that you know that if you took those to the next level, or if you master that, you know that you would have what you want. So go ahead and type that in the chat if you can.
So let's look at the next part of the equation, which is committed action. So committed action is an action or way of being that is generated because of my commitments, vision, and promises, not generated by my judgments, assessments, circumstances, or feelings. Right? And after committed action, the next one is team. And I sometimes like to call it community as well, because I feel like team and community are very closely related. Now, as content, a team is a group of people working together under the umbrella of a common mission, purpose, and goal. Like that's how, most people talk about team. But if you look at team from a context perspective, it means being unified, connected, understanding, contributing, supportive, accepting, engaged, and committed to the common as well as the individual's goals and purpose. So then the question is, who do I want on my team, right? Do I want someone to champion me? Do I want someone to challenge me? Do I want someone that's like a quiet bystander, right? Someone I can call at 3 a.m. in the morning and just like, I don't know, I just want you to listen, right? I just need to run it, right? And do you even know yourself well enough to know what is it that you need, right? Like, do you even know that you need a challenger, right? Do you even know that you need a quiet bystander? Who or whatever it is, make sure to set your team up that way, right? And now, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please. We're going to come to the equal sign of the equation, which is extraordinary results, right? So the context plus committed action plus the team equals extraordinary results, right? It's just like the be do have context. It starts with context. It starts with your beingness, right? The be, and be.
So here's my invitation. Enroll in the 12-week training, the High Performance Mastermind, and then use the tools and distinctions of the training to create a context that will have you and the world win. Use it to awaken. Use it to alter the relationship that you have with the circumstances in your life, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with friends, family, money, worthiness, integrity. I could go on and on. This is an opportunity to open up new possibilities for your life, new possibilities for your relationships, for your vitality, your energy, your peace, and your happiness, whatever it is you want. In the training, we're not going to tell you what to do. You're going to realize what you're doing and what's not working. And you're going to be able to get the tools to shift that. So here is this special offer that we have that is webinar only. Today you can sign up at a 15% discount. So rather than paying $5,500 for this training, you get it for $4,675. It's about a $390 a week, $390 a week for a life-changing training. So once you sign up, you're going to get all the details on what to expect from this training and how much time and of an investment it is a week and all that good stuff. Also, there's a link that you have access to some testimonials if you'd like to hear what some of our other students have to say about it. And really, at the end of the day, I'm going to say this is my big sales pitch right here, huge sales pitch. Just do the training. Sign yourself up today and take yourself on. Go all in. There's no better time than now. And let me tell you what you get when you sign up and how it's structured. So you get 12 weeks of recorded videos that we call the training. You get to keep these recordings. You get access to the recordings and all materials in your own app. There are midweek extras, right? Like meditations, distinctions, inspirations, and homework. You also, if you sign up today, you'll get these two bonuses. Bonus number one is there's a private network group that goes with each class where you have access to connect with fellow students as well as access to additional coaching from us. Do the training. I don't know what else to say. There are no magic wands. There are no quick fixes, no shortcuts, no magic pills. And I'm not interested in selling you any of that stuff anyway. I know this training will catapult you and your results and create a foundation that stands the test of time, whether it's in your life, in your career, or in the world. So do the training.
And also, bonus number two, we're sharing a link for you to be able to learn the power of self-directed compassion as a superpower. So in this workshop, Compassion for Worthy Wounds, we'll give you guys for free. And we would love it if you can give us some feedback, maybe put in the chat, in the recordings, what's your biggest takeaway from today before you go. If there was anything specific that resonated with you, we would love to hear like what resonated with you the most, and we would love to hear from you, right? So if you're interested in the training, inside the link, we also shared information on how to contact us. For any more questions, you can email us. And thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you in the training to support you on your journey towards becoming a creator and a powerful catalyst for fulfillment, purpose, and peace in the world. See you soon.